Hi Tom, thanks for coming
Hey.
on to talk to me today. Tell me a bit about you and what you do for a living.
So I'm a web designer, desk job. I've got two young kids, um, and yeah, so my life kind of revolves around kids mainly and their lifestyles, as well as kind of sort of stationary work really most of the week.
Yeah, and what
Yeah.
what was the reason why you wanted to change something? Why did you come to work me in the
So
first place?
yeah, well, I've always been quite interested in fitness, and I've got lots of sport hobbies, and whether it be so cardio and working out has always been quite I've enjoyed it a lot in the past. The main issue for me was just general diet. I didn't, as much as I knew a little bit about the sort of the structures of good diets and whatnot, I was very I had no kind of strategy around, my eating habits and what I ate. It was just eat whatever I wanted. And it kind of meant that I never really got down to a weight that I was happy with. I'd always fluctuate a lot, because I was quite into like sort of, I did a lot of intermittent fasting. So there was a lot of like extremities. One month I was doing intermittent fasting every other day and the weight would come down. And then on the off days when I was eating normal, it would be back up drinking beers and pizzas and stuff. And it was just like this constantly. And I kind of realized that it was just not a healthy way, like a sustainable, healthy way to live, really. So I needed and really like establish rules and set rules about how to live, really.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what was the goal you wanted to get at the end?
The goal was mainly just to get to a certain, I guess, like back into the 70 kilo range, 75 kilo range. It's kind of, I did a lot of jiu-jitsu and that was kind of 76 kilo was my weight category that I did. But obviously I'd gone up to about 80, 85 kilos. So I was just pushing and it was getting worse and worse. Whatever I tried, no matter how many intermittent fasting days I had, I just kind of cancelled it out the following week, kind of thing. So yeah, that was my target, just to lose all the fat that I could, really.
And we talked obviously in our consultations about weekends. What were the weekends like for you?
Yeah, they're pretty chill. Like as in, like I'll just eat what I want. A lot of the time we go out for lunch, brunch, dinner with kids, family. And then might go to the pub every now and again. But really, it was just like it was almost like because Friday came about, all of a sudden, I could go down the shop and get a six-pack of beers to watch telly to, or and if the ones that were left in the fridge, I'd have finished them on Sunday night, and then it would be snacking and treats at markets all week. So yeah, it's definitely the less structure I had at the weekends became a bit of a kind of burden on my eating habits for sure.
And you said
Yeah.
yeah, I know the weekends can be quite epic, can't they, sometimes, really?
Yeah, the thing is, they weren't even like the worst, but it was just like I had no like rules around anything. It was just like, yeah, weekends on, let's just enjoy it. Yeah, we'll get the pack of brownies, we'll get a couple of ciders on the way home and things like that. It was just empty calories really a lot of the time,
Yeah.
and it would just stuff up.
And in terms of the coaching, what was the main things you felt were of benefit to you? What did you get the most benefit from?
Um, I think the most things obviously because I was trying to get healthy eating habits. The workouts obviously were brilliant. From yeah, I should say the workouts to start. When I went down the gym, it was very much I'd create my own routines. I would never really have a personal trainer, and I'd have like two or three, I think I did push, pull, leg, or like a couple of full bodies, and I would just kind of make them up and thinking that I could sort of do it. And obviously after a few weeks, months, I'd stop doing it. I would stop going to the gym. I wouldn't carry on. So the routines, obviously, that you had, like the pump volume, that was just amazing for me to get into because it meant every day I was doing a completely different workout, training different body parts. I never really felt like I was going in and monotonous doing the same stuff. So really good. That's been really good. So obviously continuing on to use those to be perfect. And then obviously, mainly because I was doing it for the diet, just the sort of the set rules and the sort of the foundations of how to sort of create a daily, like a healthy daily diet, you know, whether it be, you know, slots for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then we had the sheets with all the different weights. That, you know, at the start, that was what I really needed, you know. It sort of had all the weights and helmet to do with my macros. You know, it's like, oh, you know, you've got 144 grams of chicken, and then you'd get a carb and a fat, and it really helped to just to sort of lay down the foundations of what my lunches look like at work, you know, what my breakfast look like, all that kind of stuff.
Ah,
Very
cool.
helpful. Yeah.
So, and the diet was, because obviously you've got a family. So how did the diet
Yes.
fit around your family life?
Yeah. I think dinner is where things sort of occasionally fell apart. You know, breakfast and lunch, we kind of do our own thing. You know, lunch I'm often at the office, or, you know, the kids are at school, so that's not a problem. Breakfast, we can do our own things. It's at dinner, you know, when we come and sit down, you know, the kids having whatever, like, you know, fish fingers, sandwiches, or pasta. And sometimes it wouldn't really be aligning with what I'm doing. And it would be like, you know, a fight to stop eating food a lot of the time. I know we went through over this a few times. It was one of those things that I tried to like really cancel out, is finishing off their dinners,
Yeah.
which I just love. You know, he doesn't want, you know, they leave like 3 fish fingers on the plate and then they just walk off and it's just sitting there. So
Tempting you.
yeah, stuff like that, and that's something that I had to kind of work out how to do. And then, you know, we kind of established that maybe, you know, at the same time, because obviously when I was cooking dinner as well, I used to like napkin whilst eating dinner. You know, I used to eat lots of cheese while I was eating my dinner. There's things like that we had to establish. So, maybe I need to kind of distract myself with other sort of healthy stuff at the same time as when the kids are eating, things like that. Yeah.
Awesome. So at what point did at one point did that stop? But also at what point did you feel everything was sort of working and slotted together? Was there like I can see
Yeah.
something happening moment?
Yeah, I think probably about halfway, you know, would it be like the 2 month mark, maybe a bit earlier than that? And it was almost like I got into kind of like a set routine, you know. Breakfast I think is pretty chill because there was quite a lot of calorie allowance for breakfast. I never felt struggled with it at all. In fact, I probably ate less than what I was allowed a lot of the time, just because it was just what it was in the routine. And I think it's when I started establishing a nice lunch, you know, prep some lunch, you know, whether it be chicken, sweet potato, and rice, or whatever it would be. I started getting into a really good habit of just doing that every day. And it was almost like food was a nourishment rather than like just treats and enjoyment. You know, before this, you know, I'd go into town and I'd go to cafes and stuff, pick up, you know, baguettes and whatever. And it was more about enjoyment. And actually for lunch and breakfast, it got into a really nice habit of just doing it for good nourishment and, you know, getting myself full, and that's really helped.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And what sort of change have you seen in your physique? How you look?
Yeah. Well, I think slowly as the few months went on, I've definitely lost fat, and I can see in my shoulders. I mean, before with my homemade workouts, I never did any shoulders for some reason. I can see just in my shoulders and around the top of my chest and stuff, lots of muscle definition for sure. Yeah.
Excellent. And I think we just talked about, it wasn't about a 5 kilo or 4 kilo weight drop. I don't know, one of those.
Something like that, yeah. Because I think when I sort of spoke to you, I think I was about 86. Then I must have had a couple of really bad weekends, and obviously went up to 88. So that came off quite quick. But then, yeah, it slowly kind of climbed its way down to about 83 is kind of my sort of standard now, and then it sort of went down to 81 a couple of days ago, which is nice. So yeah, it's going down.
And ironically, we've just had our last meeting after
Yeah.
12 weeks, and what we've seen is when we put food up at like the middle of September, which is about 4 weeks ago, put up very slightly, and your weight started to go down even further, which is just
Going in an opposite direction. It's weird, isn't
defies
it?
logic. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, like I say, like, obviously I'm still enjoying weekends, which is a really nice thing, you know. And obviously the calories go up with that. You know, before I would have been like panicking about, oh, I can't eat that, I'm on a diet, I'm fasting today or whatever. But I'm able to kind of enjoy the weekends, do my thing, and then in the week, like I said, you know, I get back into that kind of routine of my breakfast and lunch, and then, you know, that dinner hopefully is healthy as well. But yeah, it's good.
I know we talked about eating clean, because this was one of the big things was that on the weekend, although you were seeing progress, you're like, oh, what would happen if I ate clean for the whole weekend?
Yeah.
I know we had that discussion, and I have done other
Yeah.
videos on that, so I won't, go into it. But what's your view on eating clean on the weekend now?
Yeah, well, obviously, there was sort of anxiety around the idea that, why am I doing all this hard work in the week, eating really healthy, and then at the weekend I'll go to I'll get a takeaway or go to the pub or whatever, and just it all kind of resets, the weight goes up 2 kilos. But actually, reality was, all I had to do was get straight back into my kind of routine on the Monday or even Sunday, really, and then the weight would just kind of filter off the next couple of days. It just all that water weight would just come off. And occasionally, if I went nuts on the weekend, I'd maybe skip a dinner on the Monday, and that skipping dinner just kind of cancelled everything out.
Yeah, nice bit of calorie banking and adjustment.
So absolutely.
That's quite a progression, because it can be that depressing thing when you feel as though you've undone everything on the weekend just by having a bit of a treat with your family and friends and kids or whatever.
Yeah.
It just makes the whole process, oh, why am I doing, like you said, the
Yeah.
depression, anxiety.
I think you just have to believe in the system a little bit, it is okay. Like, there is still anxiety when I step on the weights after a weekend and I've gone up 2-3 kilos, and it is like, Christ, like, oh God. But I have to kind of believe in it and just keep going, and yeah, you can see by the charts the weight just kind of goes back down, so it's fine.
Yeah. So what's next then? What's next? We've done 12 weeks. What's next?
Yeah.
What are you going to do for the next 12 weeks?
So I guess just keep going the same. I'm not quite at target yet. I've got a couple of kilos left. We've got 3 or 4 kilos left to go.
Yeah.
And if I can strip that, maybe, if I can strip that down in the next 3 or 4 months, I'd be laughing. So yeah. Got to stay strong, haven't I?
Well, I think the major thing here is we're still seeing progress, even as we're finishing. We're still seeing the weight on that downward trajectory. There's no plateau yet. So there's nothing to say that continuing doing what you're doing right now, which is where we want to be, isn't it? Something you can do forever. Well, we'll do until you want to improve a bit more. We're still seeing that progress down. So you're still going to see those improvements in the next 2 to 3 months. And the crucial thing here is you're not going to go back to where you were.
No, hopefully not. And I think that's it. I think even just being mindful about it, in the back of my head, if I do have something bad, I think I had Domino's a couple of days ago or whatever, and I was kind of conscious about what I had. I had the thinner base, a few little things, rather than just going nut, getting a large. I got a smaller one, I got a medium.
Yeah, bit of smarter eating.
Like little things like that actually a couple of months ago I wouldn't have even cared. I would have just gone nuts.
All in. Doesn't matter, it's the weekend.
Yeah, all in. I think that is something that I need, it is something that it's sort of in the back of my mind now. It's going around, the cogs are going, and hopefully I keep it going.
But just the final question, where you were 12 weeks ago, where you are now, what's different about those two people?
I do feel like the now me is just in a little bit more control about eating. There are still like times when I snack and stuff, but honestly, I just feel like my body's stronger and fitter now from all the workout. And it's nice to see. I don't feel like the guy that has to have 4 slices of cake at the office party type thing. That's what I was before. But I think now I'd be a little bit calmer and maybe just have the one.
Yeah, not worry about it on Monday.
Yeah, because how many months ago it would have been, I would have either been fasting and not been able to have any cake and hated it, or I'd have had 4 slices. So now it's like, okay, you have a slice, be done.
Yeah, so you're at one extreme or the other, and now you're bang in the middle of enjoying life and enjoying food. Exactly.
Yeah, I haven't had to reject anything yet so far, which is nice.
Excellent. Brilliant. Yeah. Well, thanks for spending a bit of time talking to me.
Yeah,
that's really nice, and wish you all the best and good luck with your future progressions.
Yeah, cheers, Tom.
Well.